Hi everyone, David here. Welcome back to the channel. Thanks for coming back for another video, or welcome if it's your first time. Thanks for joining us. How are you doing? I'm doing okay. I'm a little bit hot and bothered. The Osaka summer is here. We're getting sudden downpours of rain. It's a little bit unpredictable, but it's quite cool today actually. It's quite nice. Now today, as you probably expected, I'm going to talk about Osaka Expo. This is my 8th video, I think, to talk about the Expo, although this will cover day 8 and day 9 of my visits. Because they were both half days, I thought I'd squish them together so I can try to catch up with all these this footage I've taken. So yeah, I got in a bit of a bad mood on the day 8 because I couldn't find any reservations on the midnight reservation thing. It's getting very crowded at night. It's really hard to get one of those first come first served reservations, or indeed at all anywhere. The ticket lotteries are hard to get anything. The midnight thing is a complete disaster because the website crashes. There was a way to kind of work around that within the system, but apparently they're cracking down on that as well. But they haven't fixed the website, so what are we doing? I don't know. I'm struggling towards the end. I'm going to make it. I can see the end in sight to see all the pavilions, but I'm going to talk about those today. I am going to talk about Belgium, which is one of the nice ones. The Advanced Air Mobility Station, which is the kind of leftover I did get for the midnight reservations, and Commons B, which was, those big ones you can get with lots of small countries inside. I think I've done A and D before already on this channel. We're doing B today. And day 9, I'm going to finally get into Null2, which is one of the elusive signature pavilions, the hardest one to get reservation for. I didn't need to get a reservation for this one. This is the installation mode, which happens early in the morning. If you can get in at 9 o'clock and you can dash, then maybe you can make it. I'm going to talk about that at the end as well. The Future City I had a reservation for from the 2 months before reservation, and Future Village, which has a lot of small booths. Junior SDGs Camp, which has a very special stamp. Indonesia. Some food court area around the Theme Week studio, and also Peru, that's our last one. So quite a lot of variety to look at today, a few big ones. So hold on to your hats. Please like this video, subscribe to the channel if you haven't already, leave a comment or a question, I'll happily help you, and also share the channel if anyone's going to Expo soon. You can even give me a tip on the super like if you really enjoyed this and it was useful. That can help me to keep the lights on. What else? You can also check out my other videos, the Expo diaries for day 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Put some of those pictures up. And also recently I did a video explaining which pavilions need reservations, which don't, which might do, which I recommend, and so on. So hopefully that's going to be useful for your booking, getting ready for the Expo. So reservations aren't everything, although they are useful for some of them. So, okay, that's enough chatting away. I'm going to hand over to myself. Enjoy the show. I'll see you on the other side with my deep dive critique into all of this. So see you soon. Okay, welcome back again to Yumeshima Station for the 8th time, I believe. Can't believe it's been 8 times already. And a sea of parasols at the east gate as we're waiting to go inside. It's getting hotter and hotter out there. So my first trip today was to the Belgium Pavilion. You can see a nice outline of the country out front. And fairly plain outside, but that gets projection mapping in the evening. It's very nice. So here we are, nice circular waterfall at the start to our little garden. Not really sure what the connection was to the rest of the pavilion, but this was a very pleasant little area to wait. Inside we get a lot of information about Belgium's healthcare research, power, and some very dramatic looking projections in various rooms here. Apparently the largest clinical testing facility in Europe. I didn't know that. So thinking about Vaccinopolis. Don't tell the anti-vaxxers. And they've got good record. They've got lots of famous Belgians over time. Some very kind of crazy digital art tell us about healthcare advances in the future. And we can see the Bloemen van Hoop. We can see the flowers of hope for the future. As we go to the next floor, we learn a little bit more about Brussels. They're not just for Christmas. And there we go. And some thoughts about the future of health technology in the summer and autumn of your life. And various bits of scanning can help us help you to get feel better in the future. Some rather scary kind of Matrix-like advancements there. But don't think about that. Let's do some expressive dance, interpretive dance to show our healthcare is up to standard. I can't do that. I'm not healthy enough. The beating heart of Europe. Here we go. So very nice. Yeah, nice technologically driven display there. And you can go to the roof as well. You can have a nice view of the outside. There's a little cafe on top as well, which I couldn't get into because it was too expensive. And didn't have a lot of time actually. And you can look down into that waterfall as well. Because I had my only reservation today was for the Advanced Air Mobility Pavilion, where you can see the fabled drone taxi planes. I'm not sure what the official term is. You can get your picture taken with it if you have a reservation. And you can also colour in your own drone. I hand drew this myself, not really. And you can see a little theatrical production inside, a little projection room where all your creations are brought to life. And then finally you can so get some more information about these drone taxis. I'll show you a little bit of that bit later in Future City. The vertical takeoff drone electric airplanes, I think that's what they are. I'm not sure I could fly one myself. Anyway, I had a bit of time to kill because I couldn't find any more reservations, so here we are at the Commons B. I'm going to let you sit and watch this, and I'll come back in a moment. Okay, so there we go. That was Commons B. I think I've only got one more of those to look at again. Meanwhile, outside the Chile Pavilion, we're having a bit of a party. I couldn't see any of this, by the way. I had to lift my camera really high up. Having some nice traditional dances. And finally, on this day, I went to the Expo Messe, which is a little exhibition area where they're talking about food at this time. Now, by this point, I was getting hot and bothered and a little bit crabby. I got 1 spoon of curry rice to try, so I went home. But so on day 9, I came back. I managed to dash my way to the signature pavilion, Null2, for one of their little open house moments. At 9:30, you don't need a reservation. You can go to see the installation mode of Null2. I've been waiting to get into this pavilion for so long. This is not the full show. This is just kind of like the demonstration mode. And I have no idea what was going on. There was this metallic cube being moved around by a robot arm. And some rather psychedelic effects going on. There's a little turning mirror in the middle. There's a vaguely kind of bacterial vibe to this show, but very interesting. This was actually, I don't know, more interesting than I expected. A little bit abstract and insane, but then again, so was the Live Earth journey, and I enjoyed this one more than that. Better than the Dynamic Equilibrium 2. So they're just kind of showing all the different screensavers that Null2 has to offer. Now, if you want to enter the full half-hour show of this, then you have to get a reservation. Luckily, that is coming up in possibly the next video. Otherwise, watch out. There's a bit of a strobe warning in this pavilion too. I'm not going to show that today though. And on the way out, you can see this little colourful display. So there we go, Null2. Some interesting objet outside. Some little CRTs. That's very nostalgic. So there we go, more on that later. I'm going to come back to that next video. I had a bit of free time as well, so I decided to go to the Tunisian Pavilion to see if I could spend a little bit more time than last time, to check out some of the food, which I didn't end up buying, and also some of the decor. It'd be nice to sit down and enjoy the cafe here. It's quite difficult to see what was on the menu without being right up close to it. Anyway, I'm off towards the West Gate area now. As you can see, Gundam over there. There's the Yoshimoto Pavilion. I haven't really talked about the Westgate very much. I haven't entered there yet, but I am planning to at some point. Apparently the lines are a lot shorter. But that is the way to get to Future City, which is on the other side of the Westgate. This is a rather large pavilion, which I got a reservation for about 2 months in advance. So here we are. Welcome to Future City. Oh, hello. And this is home to a lot of the big technology companies and their displays. But apparently we've got to start right back at the dinosaurs, at the dawn of society. Poking mammoths with sticks, and eventually we're doing some cultivation, agriculture, and then suddenly we're in the steam age and the digital age too, and of course we're in the modern, I don't know what age we're in now, and we live to be happy though, apparently, not if you read social media. Then we can see some scenes of the future. We can enjoy Happy Birthday with holograms and drones. We can enjoy smart lampposts, which provide a lot of information. And then I had a reservation to get into the Mirai Theatre, which is an extra activity. And you get to meet Omega and Alpha, rather scary-looking AI assistants who are talking to us, and a little theatrical moment here where we're helping little Timmy repair the future that we've ruined. So this has got audience participation too. You can vote for the future that you want. This is the future liberals hope for. Well, that Omega guy. He made me laugh, but he was a little bit scary. There he is. He's tweaking out. You can try a lot of little interactive activities too. I waited for this one for quite a while, even though I'm fairly sure it's just for small children. And you can have a glimpse into the future of mobility. And some nice animations there. And this huge area which had some rather scary sculptures, but also displays from various technology companies. And the moon's still there in the future. And these are all different booths along this long exhibition space. So let's take a look through some of these little exhibitions. First of all, we had some AI, AR displays here to see the future. We have this very elaborate machine. Not sure what that was about. We've got Cobelco talking about industry of the future. Looks a lot like industry of the present, but yeah, whatever. You can do a bit of spot of time traveling as well. Doctor Who style. Go through the time vortex to the future city with your AI guide. Very nice. Drone taxis again. You can see this very Pokemon-esque walking vehicle that can help you climb mountains. There's a portable wind turbine boat that can generate renewable energy. There's an underwater bulldozer thing which can clean up down there. You can see the Shinkansen of the future as well. You can see these. I don't know why you need a robot arm for your chair to just pour your drink, maybe. And bentos of the past and moving on to the future. They're getting more elaborate and more healthy, hopefully. Some interesting performative art as well, talking about renewable technology and various hydrogen turbines and whatnot. And you can line up for quite a while to enjoy the Kubota interactive game. You can invest in the future, various bits of agriculture and healthcare. And did we win? No, unfortunately they didn't really help us out very much. It's a rather arbitrary game. We lost out just by a hair's breadth. And you can see Myaku Maku enjoying the Kubota advanced tractors, automated tractors, because the farmers are dying out. And some other interactive games in the World Tree. You can do some renewable energy generation. Now outside in the future village you can see the vertiport, which is where the drone taxi, another drone taxi was. Apparently they're going to have displays about this in autumn. I'll wait for that. And various other things like speeches, presentations about SDGs and so on. Some design of the future. You can whack the snot out some samurais with some virtual reality. And in the JAXA space agency area you can see models of the lunar rovers and moon probes and so on. You can take a look at best practices for SDGs in the future. Not many people in here. And also some mobility ideas, including this movable chair which you can line up and have a ride on. There's a huge kind of display area. I'm not sure what that air conditioner was supposed to be doing out there. And the junior SDGs camp. You can go inside and learn about SDGs. But also there is a special display in the back. There's also a puzzle game you can try, which is the super heavy stamp for your passport. So you can stamp down with this, I think 11 kilo concrete passport stamp. So there you go, you can get your stamp there. I was running out of energy too, so I went to the Indonesian Pavilion, which luckily didn't have a long wait. They're taking care of us with these misting platforms as well. They were introducing some performances out here too, some traditional Indonesian performance. But funny, we got let in fairly quickly to the Indonesian Pavilion. There's a little rainforest jungle inside, so you can enjoy the nature. And also some interesting art inspired by nature too. So for example, this orangutan and various bits of art dotted around this jungle, including this, I don't know, biblically accurate bird of paradise, a little bit scary, a plastic Komodo dragon, and apparently this is some kind of peafowl. Not sure I see that one myself. And of course we get the usual immersive theatre about the nature of Indonesia, some trippy traditional art looking things, and I looked through the caves, underground caves, and also underwater, under the sea. Life's better where it's wetter. And going up to the second floor you can see a lot of famous Indonesians over history and some cultural items, ceremonial items too. They were still performing outside, so we could get a glimpse from the top window. And a nice little, I don't know what this was, kind of mini diorama thing of the city, lighting up Jakarta. And of course some traditional arts and crafts as well, some of the weaving they do there. And also a theatre display of some of the shadow puppets that they use. It was very nice. And I stumbled into the Theme Week studio, which had a huge food court. Very nice. I needed a bit of air conditioning at this point in the day. I bought whatever the hell this thing was. I think it was full of cheese and with potato chips stuck to it. That's from one of the Korean stands. But they've got famous restaurants from all over Japan, including Kamakura. They've got some sushi, I think some gyoza in the back there. Kushikatsu Daruma, famous kushikatsu restaurant from Osaka. And Kukuru, a takoyaki shop. You can even get served by this little robot thing. And upstairs there are various other restaurants too. I think this was a kind of German Oktoberfest themed place. Little kids playground as well for the little tiny tots. Plant-based ramen, if you want to try that. Plant-based beer, I think, as well. And some kind of retro cafes, including some Showa TV commercials. And back in the food court, there was this Nebuta Matsuri themed display. Nobody puts Buddha in the corner. Now, outside Tech World, I didn't go in this time. I'm going to get there at some point. They're doing some nice steel drum performance. And I reached my final destination for the day, which is the Peru Pavilion, which went to a great pains to remind you that that's where Machu Picchu is. That's in pretty much every display they had. So you can see another visual feast of Peru. Of course, Machu Picchu, you can see that being displayed. They've cut the grass all nice as well. Yeah, fantastic. You can see some of the nature of Peru. And of course the nightlife too. Some beautiful big cities. I guess that must be Lima, maybe. You can even see some Peruvian-inspired manga or anime, which look really cool. Some kind of conquistadors' skulls. Not sure what's going on. And some of the Peruvian exports, including pisco, which is some kind of alcohol, and some fruits and vegetables, other foods, coffee, and some black corn there, and some traditional outfits as well from the mountains. Very beautiful. Interesting art displays too. These little dolls were very cute. Hopefully not cursed. And you can see some of the swag of the Lord of Sipan, including some gold and silver bangles and necklaces and things like that, and some rather interesting idols. Makes me think of Crash Bandicoot. So there we go, that's the end of 2 days of work. Thanks for watching all the way to the end. I've got a bit more commentary after that. Okay, welcome back. Thanks for staying all the way to the end. I really appreciate that. So what did you think of day 8 and day 9? We had a nice variety. I think day 8 I managed to get in at 10 o'clock fairly quickly, so I sprinted all the way to Belgium to try and get in there before the line got long. Actually, the line for Belgium isn't that long, maybe 20 minutes, 30 minutes, and you can get in. Very nice. I like the visuals, very cool. Outside is really cool at night as well, if you can see it at night. They have the big projection mapping things. And I got a free Biscoff biscuit as well, which was good. I don't know what the fuss is about Biscoff actually. It's not bad, but it's yeah, I don't know. We've got better biscuits in the UK. But yeah, I'd like to try the Belgian waffles if I have a chance, but I had a long line too. Advanced air mobility, I was thinking a bit of a non-event, but actually it was quite good. I could get my picture taken. In fact, here's my picture taken with the drone, inside the drone. And there's a little theatre inside that you can immerse yourself in and see all those gliders that you've designed and some other future presentation. I couldn't film that, by the way, so I couldn't show you that, but you can go into this pavilion without a reservation, but you can't go inside the drone to take a photo, and you can't go inside the theatre, so you just kind of do a loop around. But you can just wander in there if you want to. Commons B, as usual, fairly mixed bag. You can see all sorts of different cultures and things. It was kind of nice. Some of them are putting in more effort than others. I was really surprised the hidden ones in the back. They're really kind of behind the main wall. I think, was it Chad, Sierra Leone and Cabo Verde? They were all behind there, so check those out. I didn't even think there were any staff there, so I don't know what's happening. But yeah, that was cool. Zimbabwe was nice with the VR. Then, yeah, I think I ran out of patience then. I was trying to get a reservation for Null2, but I had failed dismally. The on-the-day reservations are quite hard to get, and finally I got hot and bothered and gave up and went home. I'm a very bad-tempered young man. So day 9, I made it to Null2. The installation mode, there are 2 modes you can do for Null2. Installation mode is free to enter around 9:30 until maybe 9:50. It's first come, first serve. You just got to make it there. I just got there in time for the 9:30, so I could go in. And like I showed you in the video, you can just take a look at the technology moving around and the robot arm moving up and down and scaring everyone. Kind of like being in a kind of Terminator nightclub, if you like that. It's kind of cool, very intense, like electronic darkness, oppressive. But I guess that's art. I don't know. I don't really understand what it was about, but I'll have to do some research. Spoiler warning, the next expo video I make, I actually do get into Null2, the proper one. I finally got a reservation using some means and special techniques which apparently are not allowed to anymore. So sorry, I have to pull up the ladder behind me. Also, Future City was cool. It's a very large area too. A bit like the Osaka Healthcare Pavilion. You could spend a long time in there. I spent about 3 hours, I think, trying all the different exhibitions and little booths. That was cool. The village also, the Future Village, was kind of interesting, especially the JAXA Space Agency booth. You get a little video once an hour. I think it's at past the hour every time, I'm not sure, but if you get a chance you can see a little mini theatre there. You can also line up and see some Mars meteorite and some moon rocks. But that was a long line and I was over it by that point. I gave up. The Junior SDGs camp, you can see that little super heavy stamp. That was kind of interesting. And a nice hint here, if you're trying to cool down a little bit, there's also a water dispenser in there. You can fill up your water bottle. Actually, the West area, they do have some water dispensers side by side. Imagine that. All the other ones in the park have got them face to face, so there's two lines. It's a lot better, a lot faster if they just have two side by side. So that's a nice place to fill up your water bottles. There's a lot of food courts and things around there too, so it's a nice place to relax. I think people just don't even realise it's there. If you come in from the East Gate, you might not even realise there was an area out there. Indonesia was very cool. The staff are being very friendly all the time. They're always dancing and being, cheering us. And there's always seems to be some performances out front. So you saw that in the video, some kind of traditional dances of some description. So that was very cool. The jungle inside was very nice. The Theme Week studio, I think the Theme Week studio is actually a display area, that like a rotating one that changes for different countries to present something. I think they had something from Sierra Leone last time I went there, or Zambia or somewhere. Gabon, that was it, Gabon. But there's loads of restaurants, a huge food court in there too, so definitely take a look in there. And finally, Peru. It's kind of one of the welcome to our country pavilions that just showing off their culture, their technology, their exports, that kind of thing. And how many times did they have to mention Machu Picchu? I don't know. If you didn't realize that's in Peru, you certainly would after that pavilion. So yeah, nice though. I like the styling of the logos and all that stuff. So nice relaxing place. So that was it. That was the day 8 and 9. Not a huge haul of pavilions, but I did get a lot of stamps because the Future City and the village has about 5, I think, or 6. So you can clean up in your passport from there. You might notice I've got a new lanyard. This is for keeping my passport like clean and out of my sweaty pockets. So I'm doing quite well. I'm getting through my my passports. Oh, got some special ones here. So I'm going to try and fill this up. As of recording this is I've already done day 12 by the time you watch this one. That I might squeeze that onto the end of the next video. But I will, by this time I have only 12 pavilions left to go. So I'm really pushing for the last ones. Some of them are a bit of a pain to get into, so wish me luck. I'm going to try and get through all of them, and then I'm going to do some video explaining every single one of them. I might do some big marathon video, so stay tuned for that if you want to. And I'm going to do a ranking as well. So the expo stuff never finishes, at least until autumn. So I hope this is not too much expo stuff for you. As you probably realise, I'm doing other stuff in alternate weeks. So we're doing 1 week of expo, 1 week of something else. I'm going to try and stagger them as much as possible. So please bear with me. Okay, I think that's everything. I'm getting a sore throat from talking to everybody, so I need a little drink. I'm really enjoying this at the moment. This is the Starbucks Tropical Twist. It's got a hibiscus tea, peach and strawberry, I think, something like that in it. I'm not getting sponsored, but it is very nice. If you see these in Japan, please try it out. Got these from 7-Eleven. But there we go. So please like this video, subscribe to the channel, share the video to everybody. Leave a comment or a question, I'll help you out. Especially about getting into Null2, the installation mode. If you hear about dialogue mode, by the way, that's the other version of the regular version of Null2. Leave a super like if you really enjoyed this. You can help me keep the lights on. Otherwise, I'll see you in a future video. So please take care. Have a nice week, and see you again. Bye bye.